So on that note, firefighters across the country are indeed disgruntled. Now, last week we heard about the suspension of over 200 firefighters in Johannesburg after they refused to be dispatched. And this was over concerns about the non-assignment of supervisors. And as we just saw today, their colleagues in Cape Town are marching to demand overtime pay. A theatre production called Firehouse is shining a spotlight on some of those challenges. It's on stage at the Market Theatre in Johannesburg this week. And I'm joined now by actor Tebogo Mataba and director Kirsten Harris. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's start with you, Kirsten. Tell us what inspired this play.
In 2015, two firefighters were killed in the line of duty, Daniel Zwane and Michael Letsoe, and it unearthed a whole lot of corruption and all sorts of harrowing stories and accounts of what was happening in the EMS in Johannesburg. Traumatic stories, harrowing accounts. And we started digging, and it took us 6 months to workshop the story and to find the essence.
And what was that essence?
Just that we have the most incredible civil servants who continue to go to work every single day, despite the most grueling working conditions.
Mm. Yeah. Now, Tebogo, you are one of the lead actors in the play. You play a firefighter,
yes.
And you obviously had to do quite a bit of research. Where did you start?
So we started in Google, obviously, to check what stories are there. But then we went to Berea Fire Station, and that's where we got a lot of our research from. And yeah, and from there we workshopped it. And
did you spend some time with the firefighters to try and get into their boots, as it were?
We spent a lot of time.
What was the thing that struck you the most about the firefighters you interacted with?
They love their job. They really do love their job, and they are there for it. And yeah, we did some drills with them. They took us to their fire truck. It was very exciting. So yeah, we spent a lot of time with them.
Now, Kirsten, the characters that you have are described as these men who run towards the danger and not away from it. And I'd like to think that that's probably one of the things that set them apart from us mere mortals, that they are willing to put themselves in the front line to save lives.
Men and women who are running towards danger when we run, you know, we are leaving burning buildings, accident scenes, and they're running towards danger. Just the most incredible human beings that we've encountered, who we're so grateful for, to help tell their story and pay tribute to the men and women who bravely go to work every single day in our city, you know, and it's specifically the play set in the inner city of Johannesburg at a fire station. We've spent, as Tebogo said, we've spent many hours with firefighters across Johannesburg. And just the most harrowing accounts of no resources. I mean, Johannesburg is a city that services approximately, plus minus, 4.4 million people. Last week, Monday, there were, I think, 8 working fire vehicles, fire trucks. And by Saturday, there were 5 for 4.4 million people. So what happens if there is a crisis? What is the response time?
And your play comes at a time where all of this is, so many of these kinds of stories are playing itself out in the news. You based it on that blaze in 2015.
Yes.
Just last year we had the big blaze in the CBD, where in the Lisbon building, where firefighters lost their lives in a building that was derelict and had not been looked after. We have them protesting because they're not being, they believe they're not being fairly paid. And talking about resources, just this week we heard the city of Johannesburg making plans to finally come up with those emergency fire vehicles that they need, but still a drop in the ocean in where it needs to be. You probably, after the time you spent with them into trying to put together the story, would agree that not enough is being done.
I feel that so many empty promises have been made. I mean, Jeremy Maggs covered the story in July and spoke to EMS spokesperson Robert Mulodzi, and the story just gets spun. I mean, at that point, there were 6 fire trucks in the city, and to date, there are 5 working vehicles, whereas in the Western Cape, there are about 227, and there are about 1 million less people.
Now, Teboho, the play is based on events of 2015. What is the storyline then of this play specifically? Does it follow the course of what transpired in 2015?
Yes, it
Tell us
does.
about your character.
My character is Brains, Dlamini. Yeah, he's the brains of fire.
Where does that nickname come from? Or where did that nickname come from?
So it came from my co-actor, Katlego Letolinyane. While we were busy workshopping and playing around, he used to say, Mabioko, Mabioko. And Mabioko is brains in Setswana. So, and then I said, no, brains is a beautiful name. I'm keeping it. And
Indeed.
yes. And, that's
and how do we see your character's storyline unfold in this play?
Brains is a older and a much more experienced firefighter in all of three of us. So Brains' story is really touching because now he's the oldest and he's trying to put the other two guys to the guys. This is our work and we need to do it right. So he's the one who doesn't die in the story. And it hits hard. I mean, since I've done this play, I never look at firefighters the same way. I look at them and I see my colleagues, I see my brothers every time because really it's a long time doing this play now, 4 years. So I can say I'm a firefighter.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And now, Kirsten, before we let you go, for those who are coming to watch this play, this is, of course, an opportunity to put in the spotlight people who often operate on the periphery of society, and we only put the spotlight on them when indeed there is a fire.
Absolutely.
And indeed they come from families who say goodbye to their mothers or their fathers or their brothers and their sisters when they go off to work, and they don't know what danger they'll encounter during the course of the day. That probably is of the most difficult part of the story.
It's extremely difficult, and every time we perform this, it's a tribute to these unsung heroes, and just understanding the challenging nature of their work and just how harrowing it is going to work every day, knowing that you might not come home after shift, and being able to run into a building like those 3 firefighters did last year. They didn't even think twice. They went in to save, people who were in there.
So a story about firefighters, but at its core, a story about people who are extremely courageous, who walk these streets with us, and indeed the human spirit.
Humanity. I think for us, Firehouse really talks to our humanity as South Africans, that despite the political backdrop and the fact that South Africa at the moment is a house on fire, we are burning. If we look at the news headlines, at the end of the day, against this backdrop, we have these civil servants that go to work every single day to do their job. And to me, that talks to our humanity as South Africans. Yeah.
Thank you so much. The director, Kirsten Harris, and actor Teboho Mataba, talking to us about the theatre production Firehouse, which is on at the Market Theatre from this week. Thank you so much for coming to tell us about it.